So firstly, we'll start with the JVM architecture today, and then we'll proceed with the classes and its static data members or member functions. Those are called as static members of a class. And then how to refer to static members of one class from some other class. And at last we'll finish up, wind up with the scanner. I think you have been asking. It's not an important topic actually in Java, but I'll teach you this topic in the last lecture. So already you have an idea about a JVM. What is a JVM? Basically, it's an interpreter, or we say like after compilation, it's used to execute the program line by line. So this is about JVM actually. So JVM simply we can say it's a small software. JVM is a software. So we need to run that first. We are going to run this software first. So whenever you run this software, we have to see that it will maintain some architecture. It will have some structure for itself. This is a program. Whenever you run a JVM on your system, it will occupy the memory something like that. It's looking something like that. But beginning is like we say that, okay, we always used to type like Java and the class name, whatever is the class name, we used to type like this. That means calling this Java means it's a JVM, and this is my class name. So Java stands for JVM, and demo is nothing but the Java class name, class of Java. So that means we are trying to load a class on the JVM system. That is what we are starting. We begin with that only. So always we start a JVM to execute a Java class. So that is called as class loading. We load a Java class just by typing Java and the class name, by which the class is loaded on the JVM. Now, where it is loaded, how it is loaded, for that we should know the detailed structure of JVM, architecture of JVM. So as I said, class loading. That means class gets loaded on the JVM. This is some picture of a JVM. This is a memory architecture of a JVM. So in that, if you can see, there is an area. Some part of the memory is consumed by a concept called class area. Means in this area only, we'll be able to see all the .class files. The class files which you have compiled now, those classes will be loaded in this area. They'll be found only in this particular region. So this is done through which software? Internally on Java, on the JVM, we have a internal software called as class loader system. So class loader system is the only one which will load the class onto the JVM's class area. This is the first part. So next thing, after class loading, what will happen? There are some more regions in the JVM which we can use it. So as of now, we are not going with that much right now today. So as of now, we just load a class. And what else is found in this area is all the static variables and all the static method code is loaded in this region. Data and the method code, we can find it in this region. And in this whole class area, every class is loaded. Every class will have its individual memory. So it's not like they're just dumping everything. It will have separate memory for each class. Each class will be occupied in a new memory inside this class area. Now there are some more partitioning. That means JVM has some more parts of executions like heap area. Now later we'll come to understand that these will be dealt with objects, real-time objects right now. This is only dealing with a class, and this deals with the object. And when you come to the third partitioning, that is called as a stack. So stack is the only area which is used for executions. Executions means I said display hello. So like we are doing some execution, hello has to be executed on the console. So that time of execution of hello printing is executed in which area? Stack. Like I said, add 2 plus 5. So we call a function. We have done last class functions, methods, programs. So when I called add of 5, 3. So what started there? We have started the addition execution. Addition method started execution. So that execution is always used, or it runs in the area called as stack. Any execution you see which is running, like a song is playing or some computation is happening, If something is happening means it is using which area? Stack area. This is executable area, means the method executable areas. And locally means every method will run on this region. And there are some regions specially called as PC registers. Not only in Java, we find this in other languages also. So these regions are all specific to Java. Terminology is similar to Java. But you'll find this kind of structures in C or in any other technology, because whenever any program runs, the program data should be loaded in various regions on the JVM. It cannot just run on one part on the software. It will divide the whole software into different partitions. So first is class, second is heap area, third is a stack area, fourth is a PC registers. So PC registers used for internal calculation. So temporarily if I say 25 plus 35, that calculation part, arithmetic calculation will happen somewhere inside the register areas. And the last region is called as native method stack. As I initially told in the Java features that Java or the JVM can even process instructions like C and C++. So if any app is attached to the Java programs, which is developed in a C or C++ language, that app also can run on JVM because of the native method stack. Those executions, right? C executions or C++ executions can run on the native. Native means it will have separate libraries. These all will use only Java libraries, but this region will use the native respective to that language. So it will be native library methods. And below that, if you want to see execution, this is a major part where the data is found actually. Executions and the data are found. And once everything is stored on execution, execution is done by a special software called as execution engine. Execution engine is involved to run the any method execution. But while execution, it will use these places. And there are some more things like libraries, native method interface. So this we don't have to worry much. We are only focusing on this part, the class area, heap area, and all these things. Now let me just again recollect the area. The first thing is class loader. So what is the use of this class loader? It only loads a class file on, that means Java class file, no other class file. Java class file on the JVM's class area. This data, it will be loaded. What is the next thing? Now we have a class area. What is found in this class area? All dot class files and all the static data of the classes. Static data or method code. Method code of a particular class. So anything which is static will be automatically found on the JVM. We don't have to do anything. Just by typing Java and the class, that's it. The whole class, the demo class is loaded on the JVM along with its static data. This is important. And in the class file, what is there inside a class file? What is there in the Java classes? Comprises of, if you see the structure itself, you can understand. We can write variables inside that and methods inside that. So these two things we can write it inside the Java classes. And if I use the keyword, this keyword is important here. If I say a keyword static, these are associated with classes. So static variable and a static method always means associated with the classes. When the class is loaded in the JVM, immediately these also are available for the usage right now. So that variable is existing, that method is also existing. You can call it. So we already know that along with the main, which is also static, we can understand. So why we made them static is we want to see them whenever the class is loaded on the system. And out of all these static things, static main code is the only method which will run immediately. run immediately on its own, automatically. You don't have to do anything. So this is the only execution. And where does it execute? It executes in JVM's stack area that we have done. All executions, as I said, will be happening in the stack area. Now, what is the brief about the class area? It will have only dot class files, the static variables of a class, variables or methods of a class. That's it, as of now, till this much. Now, we discussed second partition area. I just said that the first partition is class area, only dot class files and only static information of a particular class. Now, second area is heap area. What is found in this heap area? Any physical object of a particular class. For example, you said a calculator. Now, we have a calculator installed in your system, but when you run it, on running, we get a calculator. We get physical calculator. But can I open only one or more? Can open more than one also. One object also. That means software is one. Software is just one copy. You don't have multiple copies of that software. It is only one. That only I can consider like a class file. Class file. Coding. Class is nothing but a coding. Compiled coding. Right? So dot class is nothing but compiled Java bytecode or a coding. Simply it is like a coding. So this is one. But when we load the software, or we can say run the software, right? Physically loads on the JVM. JVM's heap area. So this is the only area where they are running right now. So physically the calculator is only one. That is coding wise. Software this is only one time installed. But whenever I click on it, I get one object of it. This is physical. It will consume more memory because I can use it, I can run it, I can see the answers, I can use it for more time also. But this is not the only one copy, no? It can be duplicated. I can generate one more calculator of the same type. That means these are called as physical objects. These are objects. I can create n number of objects of the same calculator type. So calculator is a class, and of that class I can create n number of objects. So same way, like a notepad is one, but I can open 10 notepads of it. So software is one, but I have created more physical copies of it. Each will consume some memory. So here I am typing something, so it will be of some like 18 to 2, some KBs will be there, 16 KBs it will be there. So if I take one more notepad, I can type something here. It is 3 letters, 3 to the 6 KBs. So something like we can say some information is loaded in each object. So these are physical objects, and these objects will be loaded on a special area in JVM called as heap area. Now what is loaded in this area? Only the compiled code or the Java bytecode dot class file. And whenever a class is loaded, whatever static members it has, they will also be loaded in the system immediately. You don't have to do anything. Just load the class, everything is available. And second thing is object release. Only when we create a physical object of that class. We didn't start yet that concept. So those will be available in heap area. So I can create n number of objects of the same class which is loaded here. But now one more important point you have to understand that the class file or its static information is loaded only once. You can remember this point very clearly. It can't be duplicated. You cannot load it 10 times. That is the concept about class files. Any class file or any static variable or any static method will not be loaded more than once in the simple program. But objects or objects related data can be loaded again and again for every object. Means how many objects you are creating, that many times the data is loaded. Like if I just see that if one calculator is open, result is shown as 0 initially. Another calculator is open, one more result is 0. Now there are two result zeros, but this result belongs to first calci, second result belongs to second calci. So whenever we load one new calculator, a new result is created in each object. So this result is now object related. So those are called as objects data or non-static data. Just a simple word we can say. Any objects data can be called as values of non-static. Which is not static. It's not a class data. So as of now we can say we can relate something to a class and then we can relate something to an object of a class. These are static and these are non-static. And we'll discuss this chapter again because this is it's important and you need to understand very clearly the memory diagrams. Whenever we run a Java program, what happens on the system, we should have a picture in the how the data is run. Now, is this clear? This part, the class data and the heap data? Practically, I'll show it again. In the coding, we have to learn this again. So, as of now, just imagine whatever you are writing with static keyword will be found here. Whatever we are writing without static keyword is found in this region. And the next region is called as stack. Third region, third partition of the JVM is stack partition. So, I said, what is the stack used for? As I said, initially, you write. What will happen in this area? Can you recollect? Can anyone of you recollect? What is a stack area? No one? Can anybody recollect what is a stack area? Okay. All method executions will happen in this region. So what is method? Already we have written last class. If I write something like this, last class we have written. But we wrote with which keyword? Static keyword. And if it has some message, okay, if it has some name and it's trying to print. Till now we have done these kinds of things. So this code also we have written inside a class. Anything which we write, it should be inside a class. We have written like this. And once we have written this, how do we execute it? So always execution needs a special method called as main, where we are going to call this method. But without calling which method is executing, main method will start execution on its own. This main execution also happens in runs inside stacking. And when you call this method display, this also runs inside the stack area. Okay, so that means every method will run in a different part inside a stack. Main is running somewhere else, display is running somewhere else. And whenever I call display, you can observe what is there inside the display. There is one variable and we are printing that variable. So this data will be loaded inside the stack area of the display method. Wherever display method is running, in that region we will find this data. And this data then can be immediately printed by the same method. So this is like a small boundary where we can store data and use the data. This is only like we say temporary information. Whatever is inside this is just a temporary data. That means only during execution it is there. It's available after the application. So anyhow, I'll discuss this again. So right now we have discussed how many regions of the JVM. Can you just summarize as of now how many partitions of JVM we have understood right now? What is the first partition? What is the first part of the JVM?
Class loader.
Okay, that's not the memory partition. It's a
And okay, that is
software.
class area. Yeah,
Yeah,
class area.
class area. Class area. What is the second region?
Heap area.
And what is the third partition?
Stack area.
So, what will come to your mind if I just ask what will you see inside this area? What can you find inside this area on JVM?
All dot class and static data.
And static information of any class.
Yes.
What will you find inside this area?
Any physical object.
Yeah, so any object, or we can simply say non-static,
Non-static information.
of an object. I will not use the class word. Class word we will only use with which keywords? Only for this. Whichever is static will say class data, class method. I will use only object word for which things? Non-static,
Non-static.
which are not using the static key. Those things are called as objects information. And what will we load inside this?
Temporary memory of an object.
No, objects will not be here. See, I'm sitting here. I'm occupying some space. So that is my space. Okay? Object space is some physical space. But
Methods
why?
execution will take place in memory.
Yeah. So methods will execute. Executions. Like if I say I walk, I occupy very less space to stand or sit. But when I walk, that is my operation. I perform some operation. For that, I will use some more memory. So, some execution, some tasks, some operations need to be done. It will need some more area, and it's out of the object. So, outside the object, we'll use some area to run some executions. Like Calci object is already running on the system. But when I say 2,07,033 plus some big number, so where are those two numbers available? You see, it's not inside the calculator, it's inside the execution area. Somewhere in the execution stack area, those two numbers will be loaded. And how long we can see that two numbers? Till we clear it. As long as that function is actively running, we can see those two numbers. Once it is closed, once you are going to the second execution, previous data is immediately erased. So such data are also called as local to that method. It cannot be shared across. Nobody can use this data except for that method. And other things we don't have to discuss much. This is PC regions registers. This is only for some systems memory where we can just go for, like if I write a for loop variable. That loop is called so many times. So that variable can be loaded in PC register area. Some computational answer that can be stored in this area. So this is like intermediate calculations can be done on this region. And the last thing is called as method stack area. So this is used for by the other libraries, means other language like C or C++ for execution. So now which part of the memory is more important in terms of our application development now? Class, key and stack. This is anyhow it's common for any language definitely. and this it's not going to be used unless we want to integrate with some other language. So as of now, this is in minimum required, and this is anyhow included by default for it. Now let me just show some coding so that now point by point I'll explain. A static data or a static method of a class can be accessed everywhere in the class, everywhere in the same class directly. So what does it mean? Means I can call, that means we can call a static data of one class from other static methods of the same class. Like just think like three people are sitting in the same room. Can they call themselves directly, or should they call with some like, okay, the person from some other room? If the three people are standing in the same room, we will just directly call them. Like you are in the session right now, I'm directly saying Kondinya or Yogeshwar or Raghu. I'm not saying session two's person or session. It's the same session. Everyone is the same class right now. So all the members which are available in the same class can call them directly without the class name. Directly without the class. Now what is this class name I'm testing right now? For this note point is every class member, that means static member. Member means I can talk about both the things, data or methods. Whenever I say members, we just think of both the things, data as well as the methods. Every static member of a class are associated to its class name. Now why this is so is because as class is loaded, static data is loaded, static members are loaded in the same region, in that region. Means it belongs to that class location. So wherever a class is loaded, if there is a demo class loaded, in that region only we'll find its static data are found in the same class block. So some memory is reserved for a class. In that block itself we'll find which information static members of that class. So like if another class is loaded, another static member is loaded. Like every class will have its own associated static members. So let me write one class and I am declaring here a static variable is equal to 10. Now this static member belongs to which class? It belongs to demo class. Now if I write one more class below and name it as demo2 class. Now till now what did we learn? We were writing every time classes in new files. Now we don't have to do that. We can write every class in a single like this, separated by one item. And now if I write the same keyword, this is also possible. Now variable is same, type is same, data type is same, value is different, but they are not one variable, they are two different variables. Because this variable is a static variable of which class? Demo2 class. And this num10 is a static variable of which class? Demo class. So that means on JVM, if you see this architecture, we have how many classes right now? Two classes are loaded along with the static data. Right now. So how many times num is loaded per class? Per class, num is loaded how many times? Only once. So definitely this is also loaded only once. But they are found in two different blocks. This is demo block. This is which block? Demo2 block. Num20 belongs to demo2 class block. Num10 belongs to demo class block. So on JVM, both are there in the class area only. But this whole thing is found in demo class block. This whole code and the variable is found in which block? The block whose name is given as class name only. The block name is now demo2 dot class 1. So inside that we find this data. Is that clear till here? So that means static data is associated to its class name. So if I say demo dot, just irrespective of from where I'm doing this. If I say this, what will be your outcome? I'm not saying where did I write this. I'm just writing a sentence. I want to print this information. What is your output? What will be your output? What I want to print here is demo dot number. Number which is inside which class? Demo. Number which is present inside which class? Demo. So what will be the output here right now? Demo dot num means. Any idea? As of now, can you give the answer? Demo dot
10,
num 10,
10,
and for the second one, we'll find it as.
20.
Is that clear?
Yes,
Just
ma'am.
just think like your structures only. If that was a structure, then how would we call structure one dot num, something like that. So it belongs to a class. So we can easily class call them with which name? Demo dot num or demo2 dot num. Right? Is that clear? Now I'm writing another class just to write what is the name of the third class right now. What did we give the third class name?
Test.
Test class. So all these are three different classes right now. And inside third class, what did we write now? We wrote the main method. So main method is present in which class?
Test class.
Test class. So if in a single file we are writing all these things, we should always keep your file name
Okay.
as will do compilation and will do execution also of which class? This class. Because when I load this class only on JVM, JVM will immediately search for which method for execution? Main method. If you load a class without a main, it will not execute only. Say there is no main method found and it will quit immediately. So whichever class name you mention on JVM, that must have which method? Main method inside that. So I may have written three classes, I may have compiled the program, but I cannot say run this file. I cannot do this. I have compiled my program. On compilation, how many classes are generated? Generates one demo.class, demo2.class, and a test.class. So out of this, which is having main inside that? Only the test class. So after compilation, we should never run these classes directly. We should only run which class? The class which is having a proper main method. Without a main method, we can't do execution. So in my single file, I wrote so many classes, but for comfort, that means convenience sake, we should give the main method class name only as which name? Your file name. So file name should be the name of the class which actually has the main method inside that. So this was my main class, the class where we had the main. So we'll write this file, we'll compile it, we'll run it. But this will not work. This is wrong. We have to run which class? We have to run this class. So on JVM, which class we have loaded right now? We have started in JVM. We executed a JVM. It started running with partition. Now in that, what we are executing actually? Which class we have loaded on the JVM? So this we have to answer. And this is not one-way training now because it will be. This is JVM, no? The symbol is for JVM. On JVM, which class we have loaded?
Test.
On demo too.
No. Did I
Test.
load
Test.
all the three? Only test. Out of the three classes, I cannot load all the classes at once. When you started your JVM, we can only load a class with a main function. That we have loaded just now. So now just imagine the picture of your JVM. On JVM, in this region, there is only one class available. That is test class.
Test class.
And on test class, do we find inside there any static members? Go inside the test. JVM will go inside the test and check. Does it has any static members?
Mhm.
Yes, it has a static main method. It will search for that only always. It has this method. Now it will start its execution. It will start executing. In which region? Stack area. This execution will happen in stack. Class only is loaded in the JVM class area. But any method executions will take place in the stack area. Any
Stack area.
execution, stack area. Now it will go start executing. Now I just want to print a value of demo class. What I should do? I want to print this value. Now just imagine your JVM. On JVM, what is available? Test.class file. And which method is running? Main method. It's empty. There's nothing else as of now. Okay. Step by step. So as of now, only loaded which class?
Test class.
Test class. And along with that, main method is loaded and starts execution in the stack. Stack. But do we see anything else on the JVM? Anything else? Any other classes available?
No, not no.
Nothing. It's empty. We have only test class and its main method execution. That's it. We don't find anything else. Now, if main wants to print demo classes number, what it should do? How to print the class data? I already said that class data, static data is associated with which name?
Demo dot num.
So when main class says, main method says, I want to print demo. What is demo? It's a class.
Class.
Now the class will get loaded. Demo class is loaded for the first time. For the first time, and along with that, what is loaded? It's number.
Static data.
Yes, that's it. It's loaded. Now it won't be loaded again in the system any more time. It's only once. It never happens second time. Now we are able to print which value? 10. Now even though if you want to print it again also, if I want to print the same value once again, can I say just I want to print num? Can I say that? Because it's already loaded. Can we say that? Now just think like this is you, or this is me, and this is you. Your number. I'm just trying to print your mobile number. Again, whenever I say mobile number, should I say mobile or I should say your mobile number, continuous mobile number? Okay, yes, it's my mobile number. I also have one mobile number, something like this. If I say this is my data, no, and this is my operation. If I say number, this number will be printed.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, that means my own data. It will search. When I don't give any reference, it will only look around in yourself, your class area. Now that means this is printing 1, 2, 3, and this has printed 10. So whenever you want to print demo classes data, what is the only way to do that? It's another classes data. So any other classes data, we have to call the class A dot and the
Num.
data. That's it. Right? Now if I want to print second classes data,
Demo 2 dot num.
yeah, and it's only applicable for static data of demo to display. If that static keyword is not there, this will go wrong. This concept is only for which concepts? Static information of a
That.
class. Is that clear or any confusion?
No.
So now, totally, how many classes are loaded on the JVM right now? When you have
3.
run this program, first which class was loaded?
Test.
And after that, which variable was loaded?
Num.
This now, 1, 2, 3, 4. And after that,
Demo
which
class.
class? And it's now. It's
Num.
loaded automatically and we print it. But whenever we print, it's not loaded again. Already loaded data is printed. It's not going to load it once again. It's happening only once. So same way, third time. Here the demo 2 class is. So first time demo is loaded, here demo 2 is. Any confusion till here?
No.
So what is the logic you have understood right now? I ask you some question to call a static member or static data, that is the static data of one class from the static method of the same class. What should we do? What is the best way? Static data of one class from the static function of the same class. Okay, this scenario. Static data of the test class. I want to call
Directly we
from,
can use the variable name.
yeah, directly. You don't have to refer to class name
Class.
is not required. The best way to do is directly by the data. By the data. Okay? But otherwise, even we can say class name also. You can simply say test.num also, but it's not recommended. It's like again prolonging it. It's like a confusing more. Is that clear? Any confusion in here?
No.
Now to call the static data of one class from other class from some other. So what is the best way? Or what
Specify
is
the
the
class name.
okay solution is
Class name dot
Class
that
name.
variable name.
class name only, no other way. But no other way. Okay, is that clear? So that means we have to say demo.num from test main method. Test classes main method. Is that clear or any confusion till now? Clear? All the
Yes, ma'am.
concepts? Huh. Now why we are using static? Why we have to use static concept? Or what is the use of it? So just think. Now I'm opening this software. The software has a name for it, Notepad, right? Till here it's clear. This is the name of the software. So what is the name of that software?
Notepad.
Name is equal to Notepad. When I open the software, what do you find on it? Okay, I open another Notepad. Now I physically open how many notepads?
2.
What is common in that? What is the common information? What is the
Name
name?
same.
Name is
Untitled.
what right now? Untitled Notepad. Here also we find Untitled Notepad. Now if I load 10 notepads also, will I find the same data or not? Name is same.
Yes.
So will it be always same or can it be changed? And
It can
or
be changed.
so what can be changed in this name?
Untitled.
Untitled. So that means is that untitled? That means the file name. I'm just saying that one is a software name. Let me give it as a name as one is software name. This is the software name. Another is the file name. So initially what was the file name?
Untitled.
Now for n number of objects, for every object is untitled same or it can be changed?
It can be changed.
Every object can have different
Name.
file name. What
File name.
about the software name?
Same.
Yeah. So should I load that data 10 times when the software is running, and whenever you're opening a notepad, should I load the data n number of times, or is it loaded one time is enough? Notepad, should I load 10 times, or can I
No,
load
one time is sufficient.
one time is sufficient? Only display will be done. See, this is display.
Yes.
This is just a display of the information. Information is shown on the screen. So how many times it should be available on the JVM is only once, because it's the same information available on all the objects of the class. So the data, that means the software name, is the data of the class and remains same for all the objects of the class. Okay, is that clear? So because of that, we'll make it as which data? Static data. Whichever information does not differ from one object to another of the same class, we should just make them as a static. Static means same. Everywhere it is found same. Wherever you open it, you'll find notepad in it. That means it's a static data. But just one more important point you have to remember. Static means same. Same information everywhere in the class or every object of the class. But it's not fixed data or a constant. It can be changed. That means it can be changed. That means same does not mean fixed. Same means everywhere it is visible as same. Same but not fixed. That is important. We'll see later this concept again. It's not a fixed information. Today I'm writing a notepad. If some other company has taken that software and they have just given a change of the name as software name, they changed it as my software. Okay, my, or I'll just say TLS notepad. Now what happens on every notepad which I open now thereafter? What will be visible on every notepad software name? Now it will come as TLS notepad. Means the information can be changed, but after change again it's the same information. Information is same. The value will change. Are you getting this?
Yes.
Okay. I'll just show you practically to understand. The theoretical concept is clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'll just take the same class notepad and I'll just take a static string software name as notepad. Now I can test it from any other app also. Maybe some other app is using a notepad or anything. This is like another app. And in that app, I want to integrate a notepad for writing or something. Now, if I want to print, I will just say notepad dot
So,
software name. Now, wherever you print, it will give the same message like notepad. From wherever you type, this will be the same as of now. But if this other app, test app, whatever test 2 app is there, if it has changed the notepad dot software name as TLS, and just write TLS app, TLS underscore notepad. Now if I print, what will be the output on the screen? The same thing. What message will get on the screen?
TLS notepad.
Yes. So that means the information inside that class got changed. It's not that class is same, variable is same. Only what has modified the information, data. It's like I just take a variable in system. Right now it is fine. As long as I print that thing now, Let's say till now it is till when it is not changed, it will show which answer 5. But the time when it is modified, from that time we see which value 78. Means that variable is same, A, that 4 bytes is same, but only data can be modified time to time. So this variable is also same, but where is it found? It's inside the class called notepad. So inside notepad class, we have a variable called software name, and inside that what is the value? Notepad. But if somebody changes that value by calling the class dot software name is equal to what? New name. So from that time, can I see the old name or can I see the new name? We can see the new name also.
TLS notepad. New name.
So that means old one is erased. Right? So why I told you that was? Okay, let me show it practically. So this is like anybody. Let me write another class also. The demo class. If it has some static method, right? Yesterday how we have written. I'm just writing display. Inside that I just want to print the line. So what should I print right now? Because it's other class. Other classes cannot print it directly. You have to call with the class. Now before changing, I'm just calling demo classes which method. Now you can understand easily what I'm writing. Which method I'm calling? Display. From which class I'm calling? Demo.
Demo.
Why? Because it's a static method of demo class. So any static member of any other class, the only way to call is class name dot that member name. If it's a data, dot the data. If it's a method, dot the method and a semicolon. Right? Now the demo dot display will get executed. And what it will execute right now? It will print the software name. What software name will be printed right now?
Notepad.
Because it's not yet changed. So as of now, we will only see the output as okay.
Notepad.
Now even if you as a third class, if you also print, it will be notepad. But now you have changed. S class has changed it to the new name. You have printed, it is showing new name. Let us second class, the demo class. If demo class also displays it. Now you can think like a person. There is a person who is displaying. Now what will be displayed on the screen? Which message? The new name. Because it's the same for all. It's a classes data. So display is printed notepad software name. So software name has already got changed right now. It got changed, so we'll get the new name applicable. From wherever you call it is the new name. So no more old name. So I'll just show it. So you can see the output as notepad, notepad, and then TLS and TLS. Is that clear? Clear? Any confusion?
Clear.
So whenever you deal with any application development where we have to associate some information with the software program, deal all those data like static data. And whichever operation you want to make like software for operation, not objects operation. So that should be taken as static. Anything dealing with the coding, class coding, should be said as static only. Right? And once we have done this, architecture. So what else we have to learn today? Now the concepts will go faster only. Theory will be more. Concept is small. Just to give more clarity by taking lengthy classes. Otherwise, if your direct classes, I would have finished in 20 minutes. 20 minutes is enough for me. Now we have finished this part. We have finished this concept also. How to refer static members of one class from another also we finished. Now we are left with the last concept called scan. So actually, I don't prefer you to learn this concept, but just because you'll be inquisitive to learn this, how to accept. The last concept is scan. Now scanner is a Java program or a class or a special class used to scan data from keyboard directly, keyboard or other devices. Okay. This class is found in a package, in a predefined library package called as java.util package. Now package is also we'll learn later anyhow. So as of now the library name is java.util. Inside this we find the class called scan. So like in C language we say hash include and all, for this is an external library. Here also I need to use this library files. We need to call import statement. We need to use import statement. So we should just say import java.util.scan. So this is the first statement in my program. So if I am writing some test program, so test2.java file. Inside that, the first statement should be the import statement. And yes, this import is outside the class, not inside the class. What we want to use in the current program. In current program, which libraries we want to use, and just importing them initially. As usual, we can write it. Now, how to use scan? What is the steps to use scan? The first step is we have to create an object. So this object tomorrow will start actually. Anyhow, we'll learn briefly about this object creation. So create an object for scanner class. It's not like one scanner. I can open 10 scanners at one time. Please, I'm talking about object, not the class now. Class means one entity, objects means n entities. So anything which is object related is called as non-static information. So for that, we have to create. Just by loading the class, it won't come into existence. We need to create it. We need to call that object. So here I want to use a scanner. Like if you go to supermarkets, you have a scanner. They open and start scanning. So is it only one scanner or can they take 10 scanners? We can have 10 scanners in the same place. That means we need to create different objects of the scanner class by using EOP. So this concept again we will learn tomorrow in itself object creations. So for that the statement is scanner. Give some name to the scanner. With new, I want to just say scanner. And this scanner should be connected to the keyboard. That is in your system input device. So till now we were using output device system.out.println. Now scanner should not be connected to output device. It should be connected to input. So by default in Java, what is a predefined program called system, where we have represented input object, output object. So till now we were using system.out. Now this in represents keyboard. Out represents JVM or the Java console. In represents the keyboard, default input device connected to the Java program. So by this we have created one scanner. With which keyword? New. Just to coordinate, I'll give a simple keyword here. String, reference variables. This is a reference. I have to always create the new object of string by giving some instructions. Something like this. Till now we have done only string like this with double quotations. But without the double quotations also we can do that. That means another way to load the string information is with which keyword? New keyword. So anyhow, in detail I'll discuss about this topic tomorrow, about the new keyword. Just for scanner, first is importing the scanner, second is creating object of the scanner. Right? So to create that object, scanner sc is equal to new scanner of keyword. Now after that, we can start scanning specific data using the scanner object. That means your reference variable is used to using methods like next for string scanning, next int for int scanning. So say that we have different for float, etc. Now the whole concept is info java.util.scan. It's a capital S. All class names in Java will be capital letters. All packages, all libraries will be named with the small letters. And once we have done that, second statement would be creation of scanner inside the code. Is equal to new scanner with the key inside your system key. Then we can start. If you want to scan an integer number, I want an integer. I can call the scanner. Let's give sc so that it looks like a scanner. Sc dot. I have to call it to scan the next integer. So I'm calling a method which will now scan. Just think like scanner function or get ch function. Like I'm calling a scanning function to scan a number. So this function will return scan or accept an integer value from keyboard and returns it. Now you can understand returns it means a method can return a value. So when I call this method, it starts asking the user from keyboard. If you collect some data from the keyboard and finally it returns it. So when a method returns a value, we can store it in the variable. And we can directly print this. Now to scan a name, you can say string name is equal to sc dot next. To scan a float, we can simply say f is equal to sc dot next double long, whatever you want, you can scan it from. Tell a simple program to scan some information and try to add two numbers. So let us say accept two integers using scanner and find the sum. So the program starts with input java.util. You can say star, but it's not suggestible. Star means everything will come to your location. As if you're downloading all the programs available in that library. If there are 1,000 programs, I'll get everything downloaded. So we don't want that. Whatever you want, import only those classes. Just like a prompt message. And I want to take the number 1 from the user using the scanner object. calling its scanning method to scan an integer. Next, same way, I will call for the a message, like step by step, like how we do in the C language. Please enter the first number, enter the second number. I'll tell you why we will not use this concept tomorrow. Now, if you want to calculate in third variable, you take it. Otherwise, directly we can represent it. Just to show it, I have. So, is there any doubt in this program right now? You can understand this concept easily now. Because it was object related, I never thought of teaching in the beginning. I thought I'd teach it later. But since you asked, I'm just teaching. Okay, is that clear? Any confusion in the coding part, you can ask me. Scanner importing, creation of object, then you can start scanning. Whatever. So is that clear as of now?
Yes, ma'am.
So I think like yesterday, I think whatever questions I sent on methods, no? Now you can start doing on your static functions. Now you can always define the programs like whatever assignments I gave yesterday. Like for example, greatest of an array, I just gave one an array. If you have to write this code, how are you going to write? Okay, some computation program, give some name for that, some mathematical name. And now what we want to do in that is find the greatest. The method should return the greatest. So static return type is new. Get the greatest or get max of an array. So you can see the naming how I've given. The first one is completely small. Rest all words will be capitalized. First letter will be capitalized. So here the requirement is add. So empty braces. So you write the logic here. And at last you have to return the. So I think already we have learned in the beginning how to get the max of an array. So if I have started with this, I think we can do that. And then return the max after the logic. So this will be the anything you write, you should be writing inside some other program, not inside the main program. So once you have done this, you can start this for maybe it's only like testing tool, like a tool which will test your program. So you can write test computation. So it is only used for testing purpose, nothing more. You want to test your program, it needs a data. You have to send the data from main, then it will compute and give an answer. So you're testing your software is working fine or not by using the main. Okay, I can say now if I have an array, I have some data. I just wanted to do some greatest of all, then we should say. So as of now, there's no logic here, so it will return the first element only. Let us see. Because anyhow it's the largest as of now. If I give it a smaller also, it will return the same. Max is equal to, I'll call the function through which class? The class name is computation dot get max of, like in generally in math dot, we have libraries in Java where we call static functions. Math dot square root of math dot something. So math class has a static names, lot of static names. So I can do this. Now main is just used to call something external and test is it working fine or not. So I'm just trying to print the answer. Is it going to give the correct answer? As of now, I'll get the first number only. So any coding, do it outside them and then call it inside the. So here I've written the computation class with a static method which is expecting an input array and returns a max of an array. So I have taken the first number. I didn't write the logic. I think logic also we do. For that, I'll start with the first index and go till AR dot length. ID space. So here,
If
if AR of I is found more than the max, then just update the max as
AR data, ARI.
and finally once the loop is closed, you can return the max. So if I'm writing the main class as test computation, you can understand that there is a class called computation and there is a test program which is calling
And
this
there you didn't put computation, ma'am. There you spelling is wrong, so it won't here, ma'am.
here. Okay, let me
Ma'am,
see.
class test computation.
Okay, computation.
This second main class. This one, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Computation. Now let us combine this. Can you correct it? Can you find this error? Cannot find.
Max. You have to write down.
Where is the mistake?
Maximum.
Where exactly?
INT down class test computation.
But it is my own variable. I can keep M also. No? I can keep M also here. That is a different variable. This belongs to this function. This is local to this function. I said no, stack variable. This is a stack variable. Max is a stack variable. Local variable of get max function. And this M is a local to.
Not this one, ma'am. Actually, you wrote a for loop also, no, ma'am. Not this program. Actually, you wrote it somewhere else.
Oh, okay, okay. One second. Okay, fine, fine. No, this is wrong actually. This is not the program. Yeah. Okay.
There
Uh,
MX.
yes, yes. I just copied the logic. Yeah, there it's a max. Okay. So this is a different variable. Don't have to mess up with that. That is a different one. This is it. That's the reason I gave it wantedly MX. Okay. So as of now, we got the max of them. So it's like a two. If you want to write some more method, you can write one more. Get many of the array. So all mathematical ones, correlated ones, you can put it here. So get the min here. Just write the logic and start. So we have to start with the. I think here I should write. So anything you want to write, you have to write it with the. Within the same class, you can write lot of methods now. Related ones. Like that is a max. This is another method for finding it. Like a solution. So whenever user wants, he can open this program and access these methods. Now, if I want the min of this array, I can do the same thing. Int min is equal to the same concept. I'll call it, but only the name will change here. The method name is get min. Now we can print the answer min. Answer. So if you want a sentence, you can write this. And here also we can write a sentence. So you can now keep on adding. Now, like yesterday, we done the currency converter program. So you can write all currency conversion logics there, USD to NR, NR to something. Similarly, A Australian dollars or whatever pounds to Indian to something. So you can write all conversion methods in one single program. And then start calling them. Right? Is there any confusion till here?
No.
So if you want to accept array elements from the user, again you can start scanning. If you want, you can scan the elements, array elements from the user. For that, we should not write this concept. That means I'll just skip the syntax for that. We are single brackets, in we are unit of how many units? 5 units. So we have 5 units. So like array declaration with new keyword. These are only objects actually. New integer array of 5 size. So as I said, array is nothing but a reference type. So this is a reference variable and this is the object. Now this object is empty with 5 empty cells. So we have only created an object with empty 5 cells. But this is static. This is like fixed with these values. This is without values. Now you can start scanning from the user. Like writing a for loop. You can write I is equal to 0, I less than AR dot len, AR dot len, I plus plus, and start scanning into AR of I is equal to C dot index if you want to scan. So without scanner, this is the code. If you want to scan from the keyboard, this is the code. So you can do both of them. We have to input on now. So these all things. Can you try to do this one? When you have this program names the import statement, import should be always the first line, nowhere else. I didn't create the object. I scan, but there is no scanner. So I should have a scanner also. So cursor is blinking for us to enter the value because I didn't put any message there. So max of this 5 values is 8 and so this is 2. So I'll just stop till here today and tomorrow we'll start with the objects. Today we are finished with the class information, class methods. Tomorrow we'll start with the non-static of the objects data, heap data. So any doubts till here?
No.
Both of you, I think?
Yes, sir. Clear, clear.
Okay, thank you. I'll send. See yesterday's programs. Now we can start doing on the static keyword. So write it outside the main class. Say yesterday's assignment what I said on methods. So you can
Okay.
send it, complete it and send me that today. The static methods. Thank you.